this is totally an opinion piece, which I apologize for. It's kind of a rant against a pet peeve. But I'm just going to talk for a few minutes to leave time for if anyone wants to say anything, ask questions, whatever. So here's what I'm going to say. One, I'm going to state what is relatively obvious, which is that how we think about and discuss ideas does affect each other. And then I'm going to name the idea, my pet peeve, which I see bandied about pretty casually, quite often, is that humanity is a plague, or something similar, and that the world would be better off without us. Third, I'll give a argument against that idea, a naturalistic argument against that idea, and then I'll reiterate why I think it matters. This is based on a segment I did for Mark's podcast, Skeptical Connections, and then previously this is based on arguments I've had. So in skepticism, one of the themes I like to hover around is how language matters and our attitudes do make a difference. Just to go over some basics, we all know hyperbole. One of the reasons it's everywhere is that it works. It gets people's juices flowing. And you're all probably familiar with a lot of the psychology research regarding priming and the anchoring effect, and framing was mentioned earlier. And of course, one of the reasons that fallacious arguments are so common is that they usually work. So basically, the way we frame things to ourselves and to others matters, which brings us to my pet peeve. I find it interesting how surprisingly casually people say things like humans are a plague, humans are a disease, the earth would be better off without humans, and here's what I copied from Facebook a while back. Man is nothing more than a disease to Mother Earth. Only after we kill each other off will Earth be able to heal itself. Now, two things. One, I know that often people say such things just to blow off steam. We've all, read YouTube comments and just gone, oh God, people suck. So I know about that, but I'm just often surprised at how easily people say these incredibly negative things about their own species. So here's a counter-argument. Humanity is an asteroid. And first, there's no question that humans have radically changed the planet in many ways. I'm not going to go into a whole list of ways, because we all know it's a very long list, and that each item on that list is a separate discussion. And then also, I think a lot of the items on that list are ultimately aesthetic questions. So I'm going to pick one empirical one, which is species diversity. Using my terms, the terms I'm using for this are from a paper in the journal Nature. Some of the terms aren't completely consensus in terms of their definition. But a mass extinction is when more than 3/4 of species disappear in a geologically short period of time. This seems to have happened about 5 times in the history of Earth. You all know the usual suspects: volcanism, asteroid impact, etc. So the current rate of species extinction is higher than the average background rate. It is not yet as high as the previous mass extinction rates, but it's increasing. We're getting there. And there are always multiple causes for extinctions, of course, but I'm not even going to make an argument that humans have a large part to do with the current extinction rate, because I think it is obvious. So, what's the difference between an asteroid and humans? Let's simplistically blame an asteroid for a mass extinction. It just happens, right? You have billions of years of forces interacting, physics in action, ends up with this big rock hitting the planet, blam. And then here we come along. We're new critters. We're building our civilization. We're techno-beavers. And we're making decisions generation after generation, which, when we make them, seem like the right choices. And then, blam, suddenly we notice all these species are dying out. I want to say one more thing about techno-beavers. First of all, because I like the term. Second of all, because beavers are adorable. So beavers, they completely transform their environment. And no doubt in the process, they destroy entire populations of plants and insects and such. And if, by some evolutionary quirk, they had the ability to transform the entire planet into wetland, they would do so without thinking twice. An argument could be made that they don't even think once. But I'm not going to get into that. Now, I know there's a huge difference in that beavers are, the changes that they're making are changes that have slowly evolved with the ecosystems that they live in. And even though they do have local huge change, over the long term, it is considered that beavers' changes to the habitat are good for the environment in the long term. Which is why I say that humans are an asteroid, because we're making changes very rapidly. And a lot of species are not able to adapt quickly enough. So, but here's the major difference between an asteroid and humans. We can do something about it. We are doing something about it. We can do more. But the fact that we're doing anything at all is actually astonishing. We too are the result of billions of years of forces interacting, physics in action. And so we're like an asteroid plus, beaver plus. For eons, species were wiped out essentially randomly, and along comes the human asteroid, and it's happening again. But we're noticing, and we're at least trying to do something about it. This may seem like wordplay, but I don't think it is. There's no question that we are doing dangerous damage to our home, and there's no question that there's a lot more we can do to stop it. But I think it's worth recognizing how astounding it is that we can do anything at all, or even that we want to, at least some of us. It's worth remembering that we're made of pretty much the same thing as asteroids and comets and beavers. And of course, as many skeptics will already argue, humans are the first animal in the history of life on Earth to, most likely anyway, have the capability of stopping an actual asteroid from hitting the planet. And so, like it or not, actually, in the long run, all life as we know it is depending on us for long-term survival. So, personally, when I hear people making grand declarations like humanity is a plague, I politely disagree, because plagues don't care, asteroids don't give a damn, comets don't have consciences, and then volcanoes don't have navels to gaze at, as far as I know. We humans are, as far as we know, the first clumps of universe in all of time to care. I think this matters. I think it's important. Our general stance on ideas, and humanity as a plague is an idea, it marks where you go from that point and affects how we see things. Casually holding such a dark opinion about your own species seems like a terrible idea to me. And remember, as mentioned before, the anchoring effect, priming, hyperbole. There's evidence that you can lessen the effect of these biases and problems. I like to think of them as forced starting points, sort of forcing you into this spot, and then you have to go start from there again. There's evidence that you can lessen the effect of these by consciously picking a contrary starting point, which is why I'm up here saying any of this at all, because humans aren't a plague, humans are amazing. Thank you. Wow.